In India, we're so fixated on IQ. All of our toys, everything, our learning system, our education, everything is geared towards IQ. And ultimately, probably, becoming either a doctor or an engineer, unfortunately. How do you explain to parents the importance of EQ and the importance of, we talked in a previous episode about the importance of resilience and adaptability.
Great questions, and often not easy in many circumstances. We are a very aspirational society, and many parents would like to give their children what they feel they lacked or what they did not have. And providing that, they believe, is extremely important and the answer. Sadly, of course, that may not be what suits that child or what the child really wants, and therein there is a gap. There is a real gap. One of the other challenges about very strong academic focus is that it's at the cost very often of other forms of development. So, for example, sport is extremely important in the context of a child's growth. Teaches them team play, teaches them discipline. But if you don't give the child time for sport, then you're losing all that. In the same way, the creative spaces, the creative endeavors have a lot to teach a child in so many different ways, including personal satisfaction, accomplishment, sharing, which again does not happen for lack of time or lack of opportunity or a belief that that is somehow not important. So one would definitely strongly recommend a well-rounded approach to bringing the child up. That yes, conventional education has a role to play, but learning beyond borders is probably very, very important for a child as well. And some of the things that you can do, for example, pick up an atlas and sit with the child. Or indeed watch a YouTube video of something from Discovery or National Geographic or the History Channel in order to stimulate your child to learn that. And recognize that children lend themselves automatically sometimes to alternative learning. And this is extremely important. So my younger son had an exam on an English exam coming up the next day, and I knew it was Shakespeare. Here he was sitting and watching the telly. So I was first very surprised that he was watching the telly. He's got an exam the next day. Then when I peeked into the telly, I realized it was Shakespeare. And he said to me, well, this is my portion. So I said, I'll watch the movie, not read the book. Now, your conventional mind tends to rebel against that because you can't possibly learn something from a movie. You have to read it from the book. But logic tells you that yes, it's as possible to learn from watching a play or a movie as it is to learn from reading a book. And I guess that this is something that we have to adapt ourselves, because I think for today's generation of parents, learning beyond the book was not an opportunity or an option.
Yes.
Whereas the current generation of children, learning can be accomplished in so many ways. So I guess that I think that again we go back to diversity of knowledge being made available in so many different ways to a child.
Also the adaptability of the parent. A lot of us as parents have access to knowledge, and we want to use that knowledge to be very purposeful at all times. How much is too much?
I think this is something to be also very mindful of. That in a sense, your 3 decades of experience is probably a bit too much for your 7 or 8-year-old. And I think so one needs to be mindful about how much a child can do and take. People often, for example, in their anxiety or aspiration, pack their child's day with things. Children need downtime. And a lot of processing happens for children too in downtime. And we often tend to forget that. Children need time for play and a lot of their social lessons, a lot of their emotional development happens through play.
Free play.
Free play, and we don't always understand that. So, in a sense, I would say yes, by all means, be eager to give your child the diversity of experience, but at the same time, don't interrupt. Sorry, don't interrupt what would be a normal, childhood of exploration, of discovery, of interaction, which all children should have.